The warning under Lira's door changed everything. She did not scream. She did not run. In Oruna, servants who ran were called thieves, and thieves were dragged back in chains. So Lira folded the cloth, hid it beneath a loose stone in the wall, and walked to the kitchens before sunrise like nothing had happened. But her hands would not stop shaking. Every clang of a pot sounded like a sword being drawn. Every guard who passed looked like death wearing armor. By midday, Lord Varick came to the servants' hall. He wore emerald velvet, gold embroidery, and a smile that belonged to a snake. "The king requests the maid Lira," he said. The room went silent. Lira stepped forward, knowing every eye was on her now. Varick leaned close and whispered, "You should have slept better." He led her, not to the throne room, but beneath the palace, into the old records chamber where names of kings were carved into black stone. King Alaric waited there, dressed in dark robes, a silver crown cutting into the torchlight. Beside him stood an old woman wrapped in beige cloth, her face lined like cracked earth, the midwife. The woman Varick had said must be silenced. Lira stared at her, and the old woman stared back with eyes full of terror and recognition. The king spoke softly. "Tell me, maid, did anyone visit your room last night?" Lira lowered her head. "No, my king." Alaric smiled. Lies sound different when spoken by the poor. They tremble. He turned to the midwife. "This woman says the true heir lives. She says I killed a royal child and replaced blood with fear." The old midwife lifted her chin. "I did not say you killed the child. I said you failed to." The chamber went still. Even Varick's face changed. The king stepped forward. "Where is the heir?" The midwife looked at Lira, not past her, at her. Lira's breath caught. The old woman whispered, "She has been cleaning your floors for 10 years. Alaric froze. Lira shook her head. "No, I am no one." The midwife's voice broke. "You were hidden where pride would never look." Then the king laughed low and cruel. "A maid with royal blood? The people will never believe it." But above them, in the streets outside, bells began to ring. Not palace bells, city bells, warning bells. Varick turned pale. A guard rushed in. "Your Majesty, the people are gathering at the gates." Alaric looked at Lira, and for the first time, she saw fear in a king's eyes. Because the secret was no longer trapped in the palace, someone had already told Oruna. The king had made one mistake. He thought fear would bury truth. But truth is like fire beneath ash. It waits, it breathes, and when the wind comes, it burns everything. Lira opened her door and found no one there, only the empty palace corridor staring back at her. In her shaking hand was a message with one line, "The king does not forgive witnesses." By sunrise, the palace had changed. Guards watched her too long. Cooks stopped speaking when she entered. Even the walls felt alive with ears. That evening, Lord Varick summoned her to a private chamber. He sat there in emerald robes and gold, smiling like a snake dressed as a nobleman. "Lira, is it?" She bowed. "Yes, my lord." He leaned closer. "The king says you are loyal." Lira kept her eyes low. "I am only a servant." Varick's smile sharpened. "Servants hear many things," she answered carefully. "Servants hear nothing worth remembering." For a moment he smiled, then it disappeared. "Tonight you will serve wine in the lower hall. After that, Captain Nuru will escort you." Lira understood at once. This was not service. This was a grave wearing palace language. Night came. She carried the wine with steady hands and a trembling heart. When the hall emptied, Captain Nuru approached in dark armor, spear in hand, his face scarred, his eyes heavy. "Come," he said. He led her through the back corridors, past the kitchens, past the prison doors, toward the old execution courtyard. Lira stopped. "This is not the servants' wing." The captain did not turn. No, her breath broke. "And this is where I die." Captain Nuru finally faced her. "My brother died after questioning the king's taxes. My father vanished after asking why soldiers burned our village." He stepped closer. "I was ordered to kill you." Lira closed her eyes. "Then do it." But instead, he cut the ropes from her wrists. "No. Run!" The alarm bell screamed before she reached the outer gate. Guards shouted, dogs barked, arrows struck the walls around her as Captain Nuru fought his own men to buy her time. Lira ran barefoot into the night, bleeding, breathing like death itself was behind her. By morning, she hid in the old market ruins, where the people whispered what they were too afraid to say aloud. "We know he is wicked," a woman said. "But knowing is not enough," said a farmer. "His soldiers are everywhere." Then Lira found Captain Nuru's final gift hidden in cloth, a royal order bearing the king's seal, new taxes, public punishments, village leaders marked for execution. This was the spark, not rumor, not legend, proof. So Lira moved like smoke. She gave copies to priests, traders, mothers, blacksmiths, and drummers. By nightfall, one sentence had crossed the kingdom. After the next moon, the king will punish every village that still speaks. Fear turned into anger. Anger turned into movement. Movement turned into rebellion. In the palace, King Alaric slammed his fist against the table. "A maid did this?" Lord Varick bowed. "A maid with the right secret can become more dangerous than a general." The king's eyes darkened. "Find her, and when you do not bring her back alive." That night, Lira stood before hundreds hidden in the old quarry. She lifted the sealed order high. "You feared the throne because you thought it protected you, but the throne has already written your names for death." The crowd fell silent. Then one voice shouted, "What do we do?" Lira looked toward the palace lights and said, "We stop whispering."
Some rebellions begin with swords. Some begin with hunger. But the most dangerous rebellions begin with a question. What if the king is only powerful because we are silent? The next morning, Oruna changed. Markets refused royal tax collectors. Blacksmiths stopped making palace weapons. Women hid young men from forced recruitment. Priests refused to bless the king's name. And in every village, the same words appeared on walls. The throne lied. Inside the palace, fear climbed higher than smoke. Nobles blamed each other. Guards abandoned posts. Ministers burned documents. Lord Varick whispered, "Your Majesty, we must show strength." King Alaric looked out at the restless city and said, "No, we must show terror." By noon, civilians were dragged into the central square. Mothers, farmers, servants, children, all forced to their knees while soldiers circled them with spears. The king stood above them on the balcony and shouted, "You wanted truth? Then here is truth. Mercy belongs to obedient people." Then he raised his hand. But before the order fell, a voice cut through the crowd. "And who gave you the right to decide mercy?" Everyone turned. Lira stepped forward, still dressed like a servant but standing like a queen. The king stared down at her. "You should have stayed invisible." Lira looked up and answered, "You should have remembered invisible people still have eyes." The crowd gasped. The king laughed. "You think you can defeat me with words?" Lira lifted an old sealed document. "No, with your own history." Then she told the kingdom the truth. The royal family had not died from sickness, they had been murdered. The true king was betrayed, the heirs were hunted, and Alaric rose from blood, not birth. The king shouted, "Lies!" Lira said, "Then deny it before the gods." He said nothing, and that silence did more damage than any confession. One soldier lowered his spear, then another, then another. Captain Nuru stepped into the square, wounded but unbroken. "I served the crown," he said, "but today I serve the kingdom." The people erupted. The king screamed for his guards, but no one moved. Then Lord Varick, coward that he was, stepped away from the throne and shouted, "I witnessed it. The maid speaks truth." King Alaric was dragged into the square, not as a lion, not as a ruler, but as a man. The people cried for blood. Lira raised her hand and the kingdom fell silent. The king smiled bitterly. "Now you have power. What will you do with it?" Lira stepped closer and said, "What you never could. Resist becoming you." Days later, the nobles offered her titles, comfort, and control. Lira refused. "I did not expose one lie to become decoration for another." Outside, thousands gathered and chanted her name. Lira stepped onto the same balcony where the king had threatened them.
"I do not want the throne," she said. An old woman shouted back, "That is why we trust you with it." Captain Nuru carried the crown forward. Lira stared at it. Heavy, beautiful, dangerous. "A crown is not proof of greatness," she whispered. "It is a warning." She accepted it without pride, because she knew power does not become clean just because good hands touch it. It must be watched, questioned, and held accountable. Then, Queen Lira sat on the throne built on secrets and gave her first command. "Open the palace records. Let the kingdom see everything." The king ruled because people were silent. Lira rose because silence finally broke. Truth is dangerous, but silence can become a prison. And sometimes, the smallest voice in the palace becomes the one that wakes a kingdom.